Hi there. Today's video is a guiding review of Deer Valley Ski Resort in Park City, Utah. I visited in March 2022 and got in 2 days of pretty good weather. This resort markets itself as centered around the three brand pillars of exceptional guest service, only allowing skiers, sorry, snowboarders, and finally limiting the number of people on the mountain to keep crowds down. Outside their marketing materials, though, that translates to a reputation for exclusivity and high prices. This time around, I'm going to try something new with this video and start out with a summary of what I looked at and how this resort stacks up. Then we'll go more in depth on the various areas of the resort for anyone interested in the full spiel. Keep in mind, this is a comparison to other world-class resorts, so even below average is probably still pretty good. First off, ease of access. Significantly above average. Flying into Salt Lake City and driving 45 minutes isn't trivial, but it's pretty easy. It's a big, newly renovated airport with some bells and whistles like a dedicated upright gear carousel. They just need to do something about the ridiculously long walk to and from the gates. The resort altitude sits between about 6,500 and 9,500 feet, and while that can trigger altitude sickness, it's lower than many Colorado resorts. And the drive has a lot of elevation to it, but it's all on major roads. Second, the surrounding town. Significantly above average. Park City is a large and well-established area with an extensive nightlife and free transit system. I rank it highly as doesn't lack for anything, but it's probably the most built up of any ski town I've seen. Almost too crowded, some people might see this as a downside. Next, quantity of runs. Slightly below average. I was able to get a good feel for the resort in one full day, and few runs are really very long. They blow away my local Midwest mountains, of course, but don't hold a candle to the larger resorts in the Rockies in that respect. Next, quality of runs. Significantly above average. They groomed 60% of the trails when I was there, while still having challenging terrain for those who wanted it. This resort specializes in my favorite type of run, the big, long, groomed blues and blacks. It's hard to put my finger on it, but somehow a higher percentage of runs here just hit the mark of being the right steepness, length, etc. to provide a platform for big carving turns. This is an important point for me as it's very hard to tell this from just a resort map, and it's primarily what makes this an amazing choice for intermediate skiers. Those looking for serious challenge will find only a few really difficult runs, and true beginners are mostly stuck on catwalks, so I would not say it's ideal for either of those groups. It's for people that have some experience and want to enjoy those big groomed runs. Next, technology. Average. They're on the Icon Pass and use it to great effect with easy scanning on the lifts, but the lifts themselves are nothing special, mostly detachable quads. It wasn't a problem, but this is an area they could improve if they really want to stand out. Big Sky has heated seats now, just saying. Next, natural beauty. Below average. There's no top of the mountain or main peak to look at here. No obvious thing to take a picture of. And pretty much every area is covered in multi-million-dollar houses, so don't expect to find yourself out in the wilderness here. Next, food. First rate. The best I've had in North America, both in quality and in variety of offerings. You can only get a full meal at the three bases, but the two we visited were both offering interesting and varied cuisines while keeping lines down, both for food and to check out. Yes, there were the usual burgers, chilies, pizzas, etc., but you could also get tacos, pho, quinoa bowls, and steak frite off a carving station as ready-to-go cafeteria items. And I'm told this was the reduced pandemic experience, and that normally there's a crazy seafood buffet at least, too. Just in case the extravagance isn't coming through here, I'll also note that the kids menu has grilled salmon on it, and that the men's bathroom was called the Gentleman's Lounge. The cherry on top is that the items we had were not actually any more expensive than the overpriced garbage that you get at other ski resorts. Major points to Deer Valley here. Next, customer service. First rate. This is their main pillar, and it does come through. They help carry skis in from cars, they put your skis in the little slots on the gondola for you, they store your skis overnight for free, they groom a huge percentage of the mountain every day, they went out of their way at lunch to find my dad some tofu to have on his salad and then gave it to him for free. Every lift line has tissues in it. When a lift has a line, there's always staff very deliberately placing people in each chair to use every seat. It's often little things, but they are there and they are appreciated. And finally, crowds. Average. I had one weekend day and one not, outside of holidays. Crowds were similar both days, with the worst lines maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and most lifts having nearly none. This is supposedly a pillar for them, but it didn't feel like some super exclusive experience. They limit day passes, but they can't limit season or icon pass holders. Crowds felt fine, but fine is average. You can decide for yourself which of these things matter most to you, but for me, this mountain is overall significantly above average. If I was to pick some downsides, they'd be the resort's relatively small size and the cost of lodging, but the most important point is the uniquely high percentage of bread and butter runs for the average skier. It earns its reputation in the good respects, and on the mountain is really not much more expensive than anywhere else, especially if you have an icon pass. This is going down as one of my favorite resorts. Now for a rundown of the various areas. The main base of the resort is the Snow Park Lodge at the bottom of Bald Eagle Mountain, complete with a 2-part St. Regis hotel connected by funicular cars. If money was no object, I'd want to check this out, but I did just Google it for fun, and oof, thousands per night. Anyway, you get up this mountain either from this side via the Carpenter lift, or the Silver Lake side via the Homestake lift, with the Silver Lake Express skipping the runs entirely and just going back and forth between bases. This is a small mountain, so no runs are very long, and the Silver Lake half of it is taken up by houses. Big Stick and Solid Muldoon make up the main runs on either side of the Snow Park half, with the 2 blacks off Little Stick being the runs where the 2002 Olympic events were held at Deer Valley. All right. Which one are you feeling? Mogul Olympic event or slalom Olympic event? And shout out to the Yes You Do Glades area under the lift for some nice tree skiing. You can stay on the side next to the high traffic runs just in case you need to make sure someone will find you if you hit one of those trees. Overall, Bald Eagle can be summarized as fine. It isn't very special on its own. Below Bald Eagle Mountain is Little Baldy Peak. The main runs here are quite short. There's really not much reason to come over here. The oddity on this side is the double blue Jordanelle run, which is steep and narrow right up until it becomes completely flat at the end and connects to the Jordanelle gondola. Not quite sure why this gondola even exists right now, but I think it's because they're planning to expand the resort out in this direction. Lots of new housing construction over here and some more parking. For now, not really any need to be over here. Above Bald Eagle Mountain are what I consider the 3 main skiing areas. On the left is Bald Mountain, and for those of you thinking, Ronnie, weren't the other 2 mountains we just discussed already named after bald eagles? Well, yes, astute observer, they were. This one is too. Deal with it. They do the same thing with references to silver. It's unnecessarily confusing. I agree. Anyway, long story short, this is my pick for best area of the resort. It's all blues and blacks, nice and long, almost all the blues will be groomed. The Perseverance run, straight and steep and wide right under the Sultan lift, was my favorite run, but Tycoon off to the side was almost as good. Sultan never really had a line either, as it's not beginner friendly. The last lift over there is called Mayflower, and you have to take it if you do the most extreme black runs, but otherwise you should avoid it as a slow double that only goes up part of the mountain.
That's gorgeous! Yeah. Woo! That's nice.
Most of these runs have nice glades sprinkled throughout too. And more to the right between the Wasatch and Sterling lifts, you can't go wrong with any run you take. There's no less than 6 huge groomed blues all running next to each other. A very impressive area overall. To the right is Flagstaff Mountain. While the blues here were also numerous and impressive, this mountain caters to the beginner and was consequently the most crowded area of the resort. When anywhere had a line, it was the Northside Express lift on this mountain. That's further compounded by it being a necessary crossover between the last mountain we'll cover and the rest of the resort, meaning people that didn't even want to be there were clogging up the lifts and runs. Deer Valley might consider some sort of gondola or something to bypass Flagstaff on the way back and forth to Empire if they want to improve this experience. Empire is the last area to cover. I'd say this felt the most remote to me of all the areas. It's served primarily by the Empire Express lift, which gives you one blue way down on the left and one blue way down on the right, with a big combination of black bowl and glades areas down the center. Fun fact, I learned that this peak is shared with the Park City Resort, and the Empire lift lets you off actually very near to the top of the McConkey's Express lift at Park City, though you'd never realize that from skiing there. Also on this mountain at Deer Valley is the Lady Morgan lift, a bit lower and shorter than Empire. It's meant to serve some expert terrain that wasn't in great shape when we visited, though Magnet was groomed the second day and was pretty good. Overall, Empire is where I'd send someone looking for the most challenge. The black runs are the focus point here, not the blues. The main bowl was very nice, and there are even some hikeable double blacks too. And that's all I've got for now. If it was helpful, please let me know by commenting, subscribing, liking, whatever. If you let me know what to improve, I'll work on it for next time. And thanks for watching.